Brand new BBC crime drama Baptiste kicked off last week with the missing detective Julien Baptiste, played by Tchéky Karyo, back in the frame. The retired detective took on a case while on holiday in Amsterdam as he helped a British man called Edward Stratton, Tom Hollander, find his missing niece and worker Natalie Rose, Anna Prochniak. However, episode 2 revealed a much darker connection between the two, suggesting something the more sinister was afoot. How are Edward Stratton and Natalie Rose related? Warning: this article contains spoilers from Baptiste episode 2. Edward and Natalie were not linked through family at all. Their connection was a wild one and had nothing to do with his desire to find his missing niece. The whole thing was a cover story concocted by Edward to find Natalie, but to what end exactly still seems dubious. Episode 2 of Baptiste, called Measure of a Man, saw Julien talking to Natalie after locating her to a houseboat in the city. Once there, he found out she was in hiding from Edward. Natalie told Julien that Edward had initially been one of her clients and at first had seemed pleasant enough, whereas Baptiste on BBC filmed. However, as time went on, he'd become increasingly obsessed with the girl and even asked how much it would cost for him to be her sole client. She had refused, leading Edward to smash her jaw and sending the worker fleeing from his violence. Natalie was laying low until she could build a new life for herself. Julien seemed to believe her story, and Edward later appeared to admit as much to the police after she wound up dead. However, Edward was clearly hiding some much darker secrets, as evidenced from the rotting head covered in flies in his basement. How many episodes are in Baptiste on BBC? Answers are now left with questions over Edward's true identity after it was suggested he could have links to the Romanian underworld. Measure of a Man also revealed Edward's former life with his wife Claire Calbraith, after Julien called her up to learn about the shady businessman. Claire informed Julien the couple had moved to Amsterdam some years earlier, but it all had ended in tragedy after their daughter Lucy died from a drug overdose. The couple had only realized when it was too late their child had been doing drugs, leading them to split. Claire returned to England and continued with her life, while Edward's own world spiraled out of control. Who is in the cast of Baptiste on BBC. She had little contact with Edward after he remained in Amsterdam, apart from the phone call he'd made to her recently, so it's clear that Edward and Natalie did not have any familial bonds at all, but there was an underlying sense that the relationship between them was some way for the businessman to fill the void left by the loss of his daughter. Judging by how the episode came to an end, we could learn more about Edward and Natalie. The series could also explore further what happened during Edward's time in Amsterdam and, more importantly, explain the decapitated head in his house. Baptiste airs on BBC One on Sundays at 9 p.m.